The chief executive of AllianceBernstein has told me the recovery won't be straightforward by any means. I spoke to Seth Bernstein earlier, and he reminded me the situation for investors continues to be, these are his words, quite unpredictable.
Very little is linear in a recovery like this. We've never been in this kind of context with unprecedented monetary support, fiscal support that I couldn't have even imagined 2 years ago. And so it's quite unpredictable, and it's no surprise people are concerned about inflation, just by virtue of what the government has done so far to avoid the pitfalls of this pandemic.
And yet, just about everybody to a person says that the inflation such as it is not going to be sticky. It's not going to hang around. The argument being we know where it's coming from and it is not of concern. Do you buy that?
I think it's more complex than that. I think that there are transitory effects, base effects from last year, which I agree are transitory. I think the critical question, Richard, for all of us is what gets built into expectations? If we continue to see food and energy prices rising for an extended period of time, people are going to start building that into wage expectations. And that's going to find its way into inflation. Ultimately, we're not all that alarmed by it. The Fed needs inflation. It needs it badly. And so to the extent we got to 2.5% or 3% over the next couple of years, I don't think that would cause the Fed to stop priming the pump.
But the rest of the world, Latin America, Africa, large parts of Southeast Asia, they are not going to recover as fast, at least not until vaccinations reach there. And I'm wondering the ability of the US, which is a huge economy in its own right, but the ability to thrive and grow and the markets to grow if the rest of the world is still mad in COVID woes.
I think you're right. Longer term, the emerging markets will have a hard time catching up. I think Europe's recovery is slower and more intermittent than we would have anticipated by virtue of the rollout of vaccination. So I think this is an issue that's not going away anytime soon. It's going to be fitful. What
investment strategy should one follow at this point? Which is like saying, how long is a piece of string? But if, there seems to be a consensus, rightly or wrongly, that there are still good gains to be had between now and the rest of the year. If that's the case, what's the strategy you follow?
I think you stay invested. You're not smarter than the market. We're not going to collectively figure out when to exit and re-enter at the right times. People need the compounding of the value. Ultimately, U.S. equities are price perfection. We know that. U.S. fixed income yields are, near historic lows, and spreads are even at historic lows in different elements of the market. So we would be sitting comfortably where we are, which is basically neutral.
Finally, we've got through the other side. Where do you stand on the working from home? Are you Morgan Stanley? Get yourself in the office. Or are you Google and Facebook? Work from home if you want to.
Look, this is an issue that we, and I suspect everyone else, was facing slowly because we couldn't hide behind the fact that the technology didn't work. The technology worked incredibly well. Everything worked remarkably well, despite the fact that no one was in the office. But the fact of the matter is that culturally, this firm, I think the financial services industry in general, was not built by people who were great people managers. It was built by people with inspiration, people who have a fascination with investing. We hired people because they were brilliant at finding things others of us didn't see or were the best salespeople in the world. We didn't hire them because they were great managers. And I think working remotely forces us to address this issue right now because I can't wind this back up for my people. And the truth is, we're price takers of talent. So no, we're not forcing people back into the office in a regimented way. What we're doing is we're being more flexible about it. 2 days off, 3 days in the office, but we're trying to make sure we're creating structure around each function which is integrated and gets all of our people engaged. So it's a work in progress.
Seth Bernstein, a work in progress, but stay invested.